K24 evening edition on this Monday evening, the 16th of September. We begin by having a look at what is shaping news tonight.
Gilbert Masengedi is sentenced to 6 months imprisonment.
Security detail of High Court Judge Lawrence Mugambi withdrawn days after he sentenced Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengedi to 6 months in prison for contempt of court.
From the current
Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi admits that Adani Energy Solutions submitted a proposal to develop key transmission lines and substations. A 129-member committee appointed by President William Ruto to review the new university funding model that has led to uproar from students.
Ile pia kushtuka, mimi nilifent pale theater.
And on Health Beat tonight, we shed the light on the cervical weakness condition through the eyes of a 29-year-old Mercy Rebecca who has had 13 miscarriages.
K24 evening edition begins right now. I'm Alan Owino. Our sign language interpreter for this session is Evelyn Wangoi. Now, Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi has admitted that indeed Adani Energy Solutions submitted a proposal to develop key transmission lines and substations in Kenya. And as Ian Kitanya now tells us, Wandayi noted that the only way to sort out the challenges witnessed in the energy sector amid frequent power outages is to incorporate private firms.
Adani conglomerate, a group that has made headlines in recent weeks, is now confirmed to be involved in Kenya's energy sector through its subsidiary Adani Energy Solutions, with negotiations still ongoing between the firm, K24, and the Ministry of Energy. According to Energy CS Opiyo Wandayi, the firm, among others, submitted a proposal to help in developing key transmission lines in the country, and with the government facing a financing deficit of $5 billion, involving the private sector through the public-private partnership was the way to go.
Our fiscal space for taking on new loans has become increasingly limited. If structured properly, PPPs allow us to achieve value for money.
In what looked like a spirited fight to defend the Indian firm, Wandayi was quick to note that the group had a stellar portfolio of installing transmission networks.
Adani Energy Solutions Limited have cumulative transmission network of about 21,000 circuit kilometers of power transmission lines and some 61,000 MVA transformation capacity. The
Adani proposal, which includes the construction of 2 lines and a substation in Rongai, is at the draft project agreement stage, which includes approval of projects and a financial risk assessment report prepared by the negotiating team, clearance of the draft project agreement by the Attorney General, and notification of award to the Cabinet by the contracting authority. The newly appointed Energy CS was, however, adamant that the ministry will follow the law in engaging with the firms, insisting that due diligence will be fully conducted.
The PPP Directorate is required, in coordination with the contracting authority, to undertake due diligence on the private party. Towards this end, an evaluation committee was constituted a while back, drawing its membership from the PPP Directorate and the contracting authority.
Adani has been on the headlines over its involvement with the Kenya government over the JKIA deal, with millions of Kenyans raising concerns over the decision of the Kenyan government to involve the Indian firm in running the iconic facility. According to the Public-Private Partnership Directorate, 10 projects are being considered under the privately initiated proposals.
3 private firms have expressed interest to develop this transmission line through PIPs. 2 of them have already reached the negotiation stage, and 1 of them is still at the proposal stage.
However, K24 maintains that it is yet to sign any agreements with the said firms. Its managing director, Engineer John Mativo, seemingly confident that if the deal sees the light of day with its rich portfolio, Adani Energy Solutions could play a crucial role despite the saga surrounding the parent firm over the running of operations at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
The energy solution itself has a strong portfolio both inside and outside Bangladesh and other countries. So we are confident that if we meet those two things, first, get the project at the best cost, get the borrowing at the best cost, and ensure that the project agreement is done to the best interest of this country. Therefore, and what you have seen from the expertise, I'm only talking about the energy solution.
Ian Keitani, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, a 129-strong member committee has been appointed by President William Ruto and will have 2 months to constitute a report that will streamline the much-contested new university funding model that has led to an uproar from students. The National Working Committee will be spearheaded by Professor Japheth Misheni Ntiba and will be made up of 4 streams, each with its leadership. As Bilia Kisenya now reports, the composition of members also includes university students.
And we are saying a big no with capital letters to the new funding model. The government is not listening.
In the recent weeks, this has been the order of the day.
Tunataka kutumia the old model.
Students and lecturers contesting the much pushed for new funding model in the universities. The new funding model has come under critical scrutiny, making education more expensive and disadvantaging students from poor background.
There's been cases, legitimate cases.
And buying to the pressure was President William Ruto, who despite several attempts to convince varsity students of the efficacy of the new funding model, fell on deaf ears. And to address this stalemate, the head of state through a gazette notice has appointed a strong 129-member committee. The committee, which comprises members from different fields such as WASU Secretary General Constantine Wasonga, as well as university students, will see Professor Japheth Misheni Ntiba sit at its helm in chairmanship capacity. The National Working Committee will compose of 4 work streams, each with its own leadership, and will be assigned different tasks accordingly. The composition include the work stream to review the university funding model, the work stream on appeals arising from categorization of students, work stream on structure of student loans, and work stream to review cost of academic programs. Parts of the reviews to be looked into by the work streams include to review the efficacy of the new funding model, to evaluate the effectiveness of the means testing instrument for students' categorization, to establish the potential of the new funding model, to analyze and recommend the cost of university programs, and to review the structure of students' loans. Meanwhile, the National Committee has 2 months to consolidate a report, and the same presented to President William Ruto through the Ministry of Education. Bilia Kisenya, K24 TV.
President William Ruto has warned against individuals hijacking the planned cleanup program of the heavily polluted Nairobi River under the Climate Work Initiative for selfish gains and scoring political points. The head of state who met national government administration officers at the Kenya School of Government in Kabete says his administration has an elaborate plan to lift the image of Nairobi and improve services. The meeting was also attended by a host of senior government officials, including Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who gave Ruto's function yesterday in Nyeri a wide berth.
At the Kenya School of Government in Kabete, the president arrived to the welcome of senior government officials. Among them is Deputy Rigathi Gachagua. The meeting brought together national government administration officers drawn from the capital, Nairobi, as the president moves to actualize the Climate Works Initiative.
That I am going to work with the county and the entire leadership of Nairobi on making sure that we improve on the image of Nairobi.
Gachagua's absence at President Ruto's function in his home county of Nyeri on Sunday sparked speculations, but today the second in command sat side by side with his boss. In what appeared to be a thinly veiled attack directed at his deputy, Dr. Ruto has warned individuals against politicizing the Nairobi River cleanup exercise to score political points.
Isiingizwe siasa duni ya ukabila. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Isiingizwe siasa ati ni community fulani inataka kufukuzwa, si ni community fulani ndio inapangiwa. Hapana. Kuna mtu hapa ameambiwa ya kwamba aende apangie community yoyote? Nilipatia instructions hawa Kindiki na huyo Omolo. Nikawaambia tufanye hii kazi kwa niaba ya Wakenya wote.
His Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki also echoed the president's word.
We urge that nobody should politicize or bring in other issues on the cleaning of Nairobi River. It is irreversible. Is a national security matter.
Mtu kama anataka siasa, aende atafute siasa, atafute sera. Tafuta sera ya kuuza kwa wananchi, wacha ukabila. Hakuna mtu atabadilika hapa. Kenya sisi ni Wakenya. Na Nairobi ni mji ya Wakenya wote. This is a cosmopolitan city.
At the same time, the president read the riot act for those planning to hijack the program that intends to employ 20,000 youth from Nairobi to help restore the river.
Wakenya wakitaka kutafuta kitu kidogo, Mungu tu amesimama hapo, unajua mimi najulikana na fulani, mimi najua fulani, nitakupangia hii, nitakupangia ile, toa kitu. Please, nawaomba. Na nawaomba pia Wakenya. Na nawaomba pia vijana. Wewe kama unakubali kutoa pesa kwa huduma ya serikali ambayo wewe unajua haupasi kutoa pesa, wewe uko na makosa zaidi ya yule na kuitisha pesa. We must stop this. And mtu akikuuliza pesa, please report them.
Environment Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale believes in his ambitious plan that Nairobi River can in 1 year have safe water for human consumption.
A river that has been turned into a sewage. In another 1 year, we must drink water, clean water. We must see blue water in Nairobi River.
On the sidelines of the Ngao meeting, Rigathi and Kindiki had a moment to exchange a word with two factions that pledge loyalty to the two leaders from Mount Kenya, currently at loggerheads on who should lead the mountain.
Nataka nikupongeze sana sana sana. Na nikuhisi ukipata nafasi vile PS Raymond Omolo amesema. This family wanaongea sana. Hii maneno sasa iko kila pahali. So there will be a lot of pressure from the other regions.
Timothy Simwa, K24 TV.
Away from that, Chief Justice Martha Koome has strongly castigated the National Police Service for withdrawing the security detail of Judge Lawrence Mugambi. The actions are just coming 2 days after the judge in a landmark ruling sentenced the police boss to a 6-month jail term for contempt of court. The Judicial Service Commission is terming the National Police Service latest move as an affront to judicial independence and retaliatory moves from the police following Judge Lawrence Mugambi's ruling. Martin Opio reports on the latest tiff from the judiciary, now pitting them with the police.
In a strongly worded press conference, Chief Justice Martha Koome, who walked down the famous stairs of the Supreme Court, did not mince her words. The CJ going in hard on the National Police Service following the decision to withdraw the security detail of Judge Lawrence Mugambi, terming the move as a ploy to intimidate the judiciary.
The act of withdrawing the security of a sitting judge following a judicial decision that displeased certain authorities is deeply concerning. It sends a chilling message to the judiciary and indeed to the public at large that those entrusted with upholding justice and safeguarding our rights can be intimidated, that judges can be bullied or retaliated against for their rulings.
After delivering his sentence on Friday that saw Acting Inspector General of Police handed a 6-month jail term, over the weekend, his security details are said to have been withdrawn. Actions that the Judicial Service Commission is now calling retaliatory action from the police.
Any benefits or conditions of service related to a judge's position, including their security, must not be varied to their disadvantage, particularly in retaliation for the lawful execution of their judicial duties. Security for judges is an accrued benefit that cannot be withdrawn whimsically.
Koome says that the new developments will not by any chance cow the judiciary into submission by any arm of the government.
The security of a judge are tools of trade. They are not just given by the IG. They are given by the Constitution. It is a process that goes through Judicial Service Commission and SRC, and they cannot wake up one morning and just withdraw. Therefore, we are appealing to them to restore the security of Justice Lawrence Mugambi.
Judge Mugambi, after running out of patience with Masengeli defiance, instructed that Interior CS Kithure Kindiki ensures that the order was complied with. Masengeli was to make an appearance to explain the whereabouts of activist Bob Njagi, brothers Aslam Longton and Jamil Longton, and for a record 7 times, the acting IG failed to heed to the calls.
It is crucial to remember that judicial independence is not a privilege for judges. It is the cornerstone of justice for all citizens. Judges must be free to make decisions based solely on the law without fear of retribution or interference.
Judge Mugambi's driver, who is also a police officer, was also asked to surrender his firearm, was withdrawn and ordered to report back to police headquarters for instructions. Requests by JSC to get them back were not responded to.
Those 2 personnel were withdrawn yesterday. They were disarmed and withdrawn, told to report to their headquarters. All our efforts to get in touch with them to restore the personnel to Justice Mugambi were unresponded to. But because we work together under NCAJ, we all serve Kenyans. All the arms of government function together for the service of Kenyans. We continue to talk to them and tell them to restore immediately.
LSK has also condemned the police service for their recent actions.
When the 7 days expire, that was given to the Inspector General to redeem himself. But we are surprised that he did not grab that chance, or he doesn't intend to grab that chance. In any case, he has proceeded to withdraw the security of a judge of a superior court. This has never happened before. It's the first time this is happening to a judge, at least under this government. And it's very important, and we want to remind officers who are actually serving us in different government institutions that compliance with court orders is not a favor you're doing, but it's the oath of office that you took.
The National Churches Council of Kenya, NCCK, in a protest letter to Interior CS Kithure Kindiki, has demanded that he intervenes and have the security detail of Justice Lawrence Mugambi reinstated immediately. The church body says the withdrawal of the judge's security amounts to intimidation of a judicial officer and serves to undermine the rule of law. In a statement, the senior council bar terms the police action as illegal, terming it as unjustified, vengeful measure and abuse of the rule of law. This comes at a time when a push and pull between the executive and the judiciary have escalated following rulings made against the state. In recent days, their rulings have rubbed state the wrong way, and now going in the fray is the National Police Service, who have been working hand in hand with the judiciary in the undertakings. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Well, time for us to take a short break right here on K24 Evening Edition. But of course, coming right up next, we look at the cash crunch being witnessed in counties, even as the CS for Treasury appeared before the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget, defending their move to slash the allocations of counties. Stick around for that and much more.
As the sun rises, so do we, as we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your day. StarTime's home solar solution with solar panels, hybrid inverter, and lithium battery, powering your prosperity and happier life, empowering you to do the things that really matter. A complete and reliable home solar solution. Call us today. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
Kurumisha ndege. Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot. and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Can we understand an unspoken language? Itaweza sema habari ya asubuhi. Can it be a way to savor each moment? Or a way to get away? Sisi tunajua, it can start lifelong stories. Be the center of celebrations and so much more. Na ni lugha ambayo kila Mkenya anajua. The more the milk, the better the chai. Chai kweli ina Brookside Dairy Best.
Welcome back to K24 Evening Edition. Let's move on. County governments are set to continue grappling with more financial challenges after the National Treasury failed to loosen its stand on the proposed deduction of county allocation in the 2024-2025 financial year. Appearing before the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget, Treasury CS John Mbadi challenged counties to agree on the proposals, indicating that the nation is facing a revenue shortfall of up to 316 billion shillings and therefore the need to cut on allocations on both levels of government.
It's a very good journey with a form.
In a committee session between the National Treasury and the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget, county governments once again found themselves on the losing end after the National Treasury failed to change its stance on the deduction of funds allocated to counties by up to Kenya shillings 20 billion in the 2024-2025 financial year.
The proposed allocation of 380 billion as county government's equitable share is informed by the following factors. One is low ordinary revenue collections attributed to the ongoing geopolitical shocks. Two, increased expenditures for national government for purposes of debt servicing.
According to Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, counties have no choice but to settle with the rather uncomfortable budgetary cuts, promising that the same has already been adopted and accepted by various arms of the national government.
And as we speak, the last 2 months, we have failed to collect what we should have collected by 18 billion, 18.5. So the 2 months under collection is already 18.5. The shortfall in the share of national government revenue has been partly covered by adjustment of budget allocations to the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, and the constitutional commissions in the financial year 2024-25.
It is a stand that didn't go well with senators who are the last line of defense for the devolved units, who maintained that this would lead to a collapse in various sectors and counties.
What about the CHPs? What about the annual salary increment of our people at the county level? What about the cost of paying the doctors? What about the housing levy cost that is still being bared at the county level with the county staff? But the executive is seeming to concentrate on ensuring that the national government has enough funding and on time. But where does it leave the county?
There is just no any other way the government in the counties can run a proper recurrent budget and a proper functions of government in those counties. They're not even in the development space.
The latest development comes after the Council of Governors sent a representation of 20 governors to the Senate last week, where the county bosses lamented that activities at the counties are at the verge of collapse with various strikes from different sectors looming. According to CS Mbadi, the national kitty is facing an acute crisis, with the ministry estimating a revenue dip of up to Kenya shillings 316 billion in the current financial year, this setting the stage for a tight financial year.
Interest on domestic debts alone, that is debt servicing costs, is 750 billion. That will be paid. The interest on external borrowing or external debts is 260 billion. That must be paid.
The failure by the government to achieve a finance law for the current year also counting in on the blame for the current financial woes. Mbataru Mwangi, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Over 1.2 million Kenyans have registered for the new Social Health Authority program as the country prepares the official transition from the National Health Insurance Fund. With the new system set to take effect on the 1st of October, Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa has called on all Kenyans to complete their registration. Kenya's healthcare landscape is on the verge of a significant transformation. As of today, more than 1.2 million Kenyans have registered for the new Social Health Authority program. The SHA program, which officially rolls out on the 1st of October, will replace the National Health Insurance Fund and promises to deliver improved healthcare services through a digitized platform.
Level 1 are CHPs, Community Health Promoters. Then we have Level 2 and Level 3. Level 2 and Level 3 will be funded by the Exchequer, and they'll be funded under the Primary Healthcare Fund. Then we have levels 4, 5, 6 that will be funded by contributions from employers, from self, and from donors. And this will be funded by SHIF. And then we have the final level, again within levels 4, 5, 6, funded under Emergency, Chronic, and Critical Illness Fund.
The Ministry of Health has been actively conducting training sessions for health workers across the country to ensure a smooth transition. The training will equip healthcare professionals with the necessary skills to enhance operational efficiency, improve patient outcomes, and strengthen health financing systems.
Allow me to just say something. The World Bank likes saying that 80% of many government digital projects fail to deliver what they are supposed to deliver. And the World Bank would know, because they invest in those projects. We want to make sure this does not fall under that statistics. And for that reason, they also say that 50% of those which fail not because of technology, but because of people. Therefore, the reason why we thought it was important to start with this master of trainers is so that we start carrying people with us from day one.
The Social Health Insurance Fund is expected to take effect and curb wastage of resources by sealing loopholes for misappropriation of funds through claims by leveraging on technology, with Social Health Authority Chairman Timothy Olwen convinced the platform will achieve the same in due course.
One of the thorny issues that we have had, and this has to be emphasized, is the aspect of people who are being diplomatic will call it wastage. But things to do with fraud, corruption, and absolute theft of resources cannot continue. And one of the things that the system is going to help us to be able to curb in certain ways based on the machine learning and AI capabilities is that we are going to make sure, as much as possible, that genuine claims are paid and paid on time. But also claims that are not genuine are not going to get paid.
Kenyans can register for SHA through a simple self-registration process using the USSD code *147#, the SHA website, or by visiting NHIF offices. Community health promoters have also been enlisted to assist with the registration process. The rate of stillbirths in Kenya is at 19 per 1,000 total births as of 2019 data. This is according to figures from the World Health Organization, which further notes that at least 53% of stillbirths occur during labor and birth, while 47% occur during the pregnancy period. In today's Health Bit segment, Robbie Omondi spoke to a 29-year-old Mercy Rebecca, who has had 13 miscarriages and now brings us her story.
For 8 years, between 2014 and 2022, 29-year-old Mercy Rebecca lost 13 babies. Her first was born at 6 months in 2014, but unfortunately died after 4 days. Her next 3 pregnancies, she tells us, did not get to 3 months.
Lakini ikafika miezi 6.5, kaanza kuumwa. Nikaenda pale mama harusi, nikakuwa induced. Nikajifungua mtoto kilo 1, akaekwa kwa nursery, lakini akapass after 4 days. Nimekuwa nikitembea hiyo safari, kakuja nikapata mimba zingine. After hiyo kapata mimba 3 zikatoka below 3 months. zote hiyo ikafika 4.
Later in 2016, Mercy tells us she got pregnant, and this time her amniotic fluid started leaking at 28 weeks, which saw her undergo an emergency C-section.
Kapelekwa pale CS, katolewa mtoto wa 1.5 kg. Akalala siku moja, ya pili bahati mbaya akaniacha.
Even though Mercy's journey to holding her own child in her arms seemed impossible, she says giving up was not in her vocabulary.
Nikakakaa tena kidogo, tena 2019 nikabeba ingine. Na ikaanza kuniletea shida ikiwa na mwezi. But kufika 19 weeks pia hiyo tena, maji kama kawaida, na story ikaisha.
And as